Hi guys, it's Kiarko here, back with another speed build. Today we're building a Heart and Home Orphanage. That's the name, Heart and Home Orphanage. Please let me know what you guys think of this build. Basically, it is this very gigantic, like farm-style, ranch-style orphanage, which I know is such an odd topic, but I feel like orphanages are just so, like, fun in The Sims, even though you can't actually play them. I always had a problem with that. I feel like they should definitely be a lot type, and they should introduce some sort of gameplay with that, because I feel like a lot of people, for some reason, really gravitate to like orphan stories in The Sims. I see it all the time on YouTube and on Tumblr and all that stuff. So I feel like that would be a great addition to the game. Although I can't imagine what they would call it, like Get to Orphanage Pack. Like, I mean, what would it even be called? But I feel like that would definitely be very, very fun. So I hope that one day they actually will implement that. But yeah, anyway, so like I said, it's a giant farm that's an orphanage. Basically, the idea that I had is that this is a very, very old orphanage called the Heart and Home Orphanage that has been like run by this family that lives in this big house here. It's been run by them for a very, very long time. It's like a family business, you know? And there's like a separate like housing for the kids, and there's like separate like area. You'll see. Basically, it's an entire plot of land just dedicated to, you know, an orphanage. And I must say, it's not like a torture orphanage like people often do in The Sims, you know, like this is a good orphanage. It's an actual orphanage that's meant to like care for the kids and be a good experience and all that stuff. Torture orphanage, I'm saying those words out of my mouth sounds absolutely terrible, but you guys know what I mean. People really like to play some really weird storylines in this game. I know someone did like it was on TikTok, I think. Someone actually did like, it was quote unquote a torture orphanage where they had like a whole bunch of kids, like 100 kids, on a lot, each in their own individual room, and then they like forced them to like work on their skill set for like hours and hours and hours on end, and it was like survival of the fittest. It was the weirdest series I ever saw, but that's what I imagine when I say torture orphanage. But yeah, anyway, so like I said, this is the big main house. So this is the house where when kids are first arriving at the orphanage, or when prospective parents are coming to like meet children and stuff, this is where they would go. So it's like the main house. The bottom floor is where we're gonna have some office spaces. It's where the kitchen's gonna be, and then on the top floor is where all our bedrooms are gonna be. So that's where the people who actually like work here and run this orphanage, that's where they sleep. So they actually like live in the orphanage itself. Yeah. Anyway, so this build is actually slightly inspired by a movie, slightly. The film is called My Life as a Zucchini. I'm not sure if I've talked about it on this channel before, but it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's just such a heartwarming film. I believe it's a claymation, or stop motion film, and it's just, you guys have to see it if you can. It's wonderful. It's originally a French film, so you can watch it with subtitles. I watched it dubbed because the dubbed version was actually pretty good. The actors were just fantastic, and it's from the director who directed Portrait of Lady on Fire, which is one of my other favorite films of all time. So just please check it out. It's just such a wonderful, heartwarming film, and it just kind of inspired this build a little bit. The actual like architecture of this orphanage is not like anything like the architecture of the orphanage in the movie, but I'm just inspired by it in the sense of like building a very like warm, friendly like atmosphere for these kids, because that movie's all about an orphanage that like really takes care of their children, and they like, you know, make lifelong friends, and they like, you know, it's a good movie. Please check it out. I must insist. Anyway, so this building on the side here, which I guess is like the west building, I don't know, or the east building, this is where the kids sleep. So this is like the sleeping quarters, the dormitory, I don't know what to call it. And there's basically two wings. So there's a wing on the left, there's a wing on the right. So I imagine it would probably just be boys, girls split. And then in the center, there'll be a little like common room area where the kids can, you know, chill out, play with some toys, hang out, stuff like that. And then we're gonna build all this outside stuff. It's gonna be so amazing, you guys. I'm really excited for you. See, this build took me so long to do. I think it was like a 4 or 5 hour build, so a very, very long time. I committed like a whole night to this, because I really wanted to build something like very large scale for you. And oh, I forgot to mention, this is available for download. It'll be on my Patreon for early access, and then it will be released to the public in 2 weeks exactly. So check that out if you're interested. And I'm so excited to see if you guys actually like bring this into your game. Please tell me like if you do any orphanage gameplay, unless you're doing like torture orphanage stuff. Don't want to see that. I want to see heartwarming, you know, orphans growing up and being loved. That's what I want to see. With that being said, like, if you want to actually like run this as an orphanage, like, you're probably gonna need some mods and cheats and stuff, because like there's so many beds here. Like, this could fit a lot of people. You could use like a household extender mod where you could have like, I don't know, like 20 Sims in your household, but do that with caution though, because I have heard that those things really lag your game. But that's one option if you wanted to like actually run a full-scale orphanage. And then the rest, I guess, is just your imagination, because I'm not sure if there's actually like an orphanage mod in this game where you can like have like adopt out like gameplay stuff. But you know, you could definitely make it work inside your head, I guess. That's what I always do when I play The Sims, which I haven't done in a long time, but when I was in my gameplay phase of life, I would always just like imagine stuff, you know? Like, I didn't actually use a lot of mods. I'd just be like, okay, this sim is like being adopted by this sim, and I'll change their household, and I'll give this sim like, I'll put in ka-ching and give him $1,000, and that's gonna be like pretend payment and all this stuff. So you can definitely just like be creative with it, use your imagination. You guys know what I'm saying. Anyways, I also spent a lot of time on the exterior of this build. Like, I would say more than half of this video is probably just the exterior. And the reason for that is, like I've said in previous videos, I've been really trying to up my exterior game, because I feel like exteriors are super important, and I definitely have not been paying enough attention to them in my past videos. So for this one in particular, I tried to spend a lot of time with the details of the outside, especially in the layout of this entire like farmland. We had a lot, you see that little bike there? A lot of little details that I was trying to, you know, make this place seem like it was actually real and lively and all that fun stuff. And yeah, so now we're just gonna put in like a bus stop there on the left, you saw, because I thought that'd be a great place for, you know, if I don't know how this works, but I guess if like kids like age up and they have to like leave the orphanage, there's like a bus stop there to like help them go. I don't know. I really don't know like the actual like management or the works of like real life orphanages. If you guys know anything about that, I'm actually very curious. Do places like these really exist? I'm not quite sure. Like, is there a farm somewhere out in the middle of somewhere that's like a beautiful, lovely like farm orphanage? Is this a thing, or am I just like making this up? I feel like it'd be a wonderful thing. It seems like a very lovely place. Anyway, so we're gonna put in a lot of greenery. There's gonna be a lot of these bushes here, and again, that's part of me just trying to add a lot of details to my exteriors, but also I just wanted to incorporate more greenery into my builds, because I feel like sometimes I neglect plants and nature and stuff, and then I end up with kind of like cold exteriors. I'm not about that, you know. I want to incorporate Mother Nature as much as I can, because in real life I love nature. It's such a weird thing. It's a weird way for me to say that, but I think I've mentioned this before, but there was that study done about how people like are affected by seeing nature, and you know, the wilderness and stuff, and it has shown to actually like improve like your mental health and even your physical health. And I think it's just super important to be around like trees and grass and you know, the outside world. So I'm trying to incorporate that more into my builds, and I'm trying to get more of that in my real life. Though so far I've actually been inside my house for a few days now, because my current school is online. It's remote because, you know, you guys know. But so I'm totally being a hypocrite here saying all this stuff, and I haven't even been in nature for a bit. I think that like sometime soon, maybe after I graduate or sometime just the next break I have, I would like to go on maybe a little camping trip or something like that. I used to be into camping a lot, and then I just like wasn't for a very long time, so I'm excited to try that out again. I think that would be very, very nice. But we'll see. I don't know. Anyway, so over here in this section behind the dormitory area, we have this lovely garden. I'm actually really happy with how this turned out, you guys. I'm so proud of myself, you know. I know I'm tooting my own horn, but you know, whatever, I'm gonna do it. Anyway, so this is, like I said, the garden area. Basically, we're going to have a couple different sections of the garden area. There's gonna be like a shaded area where you can like play chess. There's gonna be like some eating areas, like picnic benches. There's gonna be like a barbecue area, and then there's gonna be like the actual garden area. So the idea I had was that like the kids have a lot of different activities they can do here, and I feel like this farm, because it's a farm in particular, probably really emphasizes like working with nature, like working with plants and farm stuff, and you know what I mean. So gardening, that's what I'm thinking of. So they probably have a pretty strong gardening program here where like the kids are like encouraged daily to like work in the garden. Not like work, not like manual labor or anything like that, but like learn about nature and like care for plants and like have something that they can like take care of and learn how to be responsible. Just an activity that gets them being outside and like learning new skills and values. I feel like that's very important for young kids, you know? So that's kind of the idea of this section here, is that there's like chess, there's areas to eat and chill in nature, and then there's areas, you'll see in a second, that I put together for them to learn how to like garden and farm and stuff. I have no idea how to garden or farm in real life. This whole video is gonna be just me being a hypocrite, you guys, so just get used to it. But I feel like it's such an interesting skill. I've mentioned this in a couple videos because I repeat myself all the time. But in my dream house, when I imagine, you know, my future, one of the things I always liked to imagine was that I would be growing my own food to a certain extent, you know, like that I would have like tomato plants, and that's the only food I can think of right now, tomato plants, maybe an apple tree or something like that, just like food that I grew that like I can like eat, you know? I feel like that would be a very rewarding experience, and I feel like it's a good skill to have, you know? Like, imagine there's a zombie apocalypse. I think it'll be important to know how to grow stuff. And I also always imagine that it'd be really cool to own some chickens, which I know is so weird, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I'm a chicken person, you know? Like, just like having them, like just taking care of them, and they lay eggs like every day, and then you have like a constant supply of eggs. It sounds great. Chickens sound great, and I feel like that is something that one day I would like to have, some chickens. But I've mentioned that before. Anyway, so now we have this section here, which is basically just like, I don't know what to call this. I guess it's basically just like a courtyard, pretty much. So it's an area where I guess they could like run some outdoor activities. You can see that there is like a little signpost in the middle there so that kids don't get lost. Because I imagine this would be a pretty big place for, you know, a young kid to be in. So there's some signage there so that they have some direction. This building here that I just built, this is going to be a classroom / like where all the bathrooms and the showers are. So honestly, like the way I kind of structured this is a little bit like a camp. I just realized, where you have like a separate like area for the bathrooms and a separate like building room. That wasn't intentional. I just kind of I felt like this layout made the most sense. And then what are we gonna put in here? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just putting in random my doors and my windows and stuff like that, just putting this building together. Like I said, this building in particular is going to house a classroom because I did feel like it was important for the kids to like have like, because, okay, I don't know what I'm talking about when I talk about orphanages, like in real life. Do the kids, because, okay, here's what I'm thinking. In the movie My Life is a Zucchini, which I was talking about earlier, the kids like took classes and their education was in the orphanage itself. Like the orphanage people who ran the orphanage like were also the people who were educating the children. I don't know if that's how it is in America, because that movie was based on like the French system. But I feel like that'd be pretty interesting. I feel like that makes sense, right? So the kids would probably just get their education here, or like maybe they get sent to a school nearby. I'm not quite sure. But basically the idea for this particular orphanage is that they would get some education here from the teachers. And then we have a little swing set area back there, which is a little bit cramped. You probably swing a little bit too far back and hit that fence, but whatever, it's fine. And then we have another big courtyard section in front of this building here, which I'm going to put in some picnic benches, I believe. And basically, it's another area where they can run activities, where the kids can run around, you know, get their energy out, play games, stuff like that. So there's just like a lot of outdoor spaces here for, you know, the kids to enjoy. Which again, I feel like is very, very important. I feel like kids these days especially are not getting enough outdoor time. And I don't know whose fault that is. I feel like it's both educators and parents' fault, you know? Like I feel like too many, I'm not like judging other people because I'm not a parent, okay? I don't know anything about kids. But I do feel like it's important for kids to like actually like do physical things, you know? Like outside in the real world and just kind of see what the world actually looks like, you know? Like experience, you know, rivers and trees and I'm not trying to be like all old-fashioned here, like, oh, you gotta go play outside, you know, but I feel like I said, like that study, which actually has proven that human beings, even seeing nature alone and especially interacting with it, actually does improve our mental health and physical well-being. I feel like that's super important for kids, you know? Not to say that kids shouldn't be, you know, playing with other stuff too. I mean, I was a gamer since I was like 10. Like I've been playing this game, The Sims especially, like for a very, very long time. I remember when The Sims 3 came out in stores and my mom took me to the store to buy the game like the day after it came out, and I remember like I have such a visceral memory of literally walking in the store, seeing the game, The Sims 3. I was so excited. I kept looking at the cover. I kept like analyzing it. I remember what the cover looked like. It was all the diamond. It's like a diamond pattern, and each diamond had like a different sim in it. And in my head, when I was looking at all these Sims, I kept like imagining different stories for each of them and how much I was gonna love this game and how much I was gonna play it. So I've been with this franchise for a pretty long time. So I'm definitely not trying to suggest that I was like this outdoor wild child running around in the grass. I was definitely inside playing on my laptop a lot. And I feel like I turned out fine, I think. But all I'm saying is that I do think like the balance of outdoor-indoor time is definitely really tipping towards indoor these days for kids. And part of that, honestly, is just like the environment itself is not like... This is a whole other topic to get into, but I feel like, and I'm specifically speaking from a Western American perspective, okay? I feel like in America, a lot of the outdoor spaces we have, a lot of the public outdoor spaces we have are just not great. Like, as an interior designer, as someone who really likes to think about, design spaces and the way our environment and atmosphere can affect us, like, public spaces are not great. Like, they're really not great. Like, you have all these highways and roads and like ads and signs everywhere, and the environment is just like concrete, and there's not a lot of nature. And like I said, this is like so specific to where I am in my area, and this definitely isn't everywhere in the United States. But like, I do feel like this is something a lot of people do experience. The outside environment just isn't that fulfilling. It's not fulfilling anymore because, everything's just built for cars and roads and advertisements and these big, these buildings that are so uninspired, and there's no amazing, beautiful architecture, and there's no, grand, vast parks anywhere anymore, So I feel like that's part of the problem, is that like our outdoor environment is, either being knocked down for parking lots, or it's just being destroyed by climate change, that to the extent where kids just like don't have a lot of incentive to be outside anymore. You know what I mean? But I don't know. What do you guys think of this? Like, am I totally in the wrong and am I totally in the dark about something here? But I feel like we should try to, first of all, have more public spaces that include a lot of nature. So more parks, more playgrounds, less roads, less parking lots, less concrete, more things that make us feel like human beings, not like machines, not like cars, That's just my opinion. I like, when I imagine my future and I imagine having kids, I really like the idea of just like on the weekend taking my kids to the park, and then we just like spend the whole day there, and there's so much to do and there's so much to see, and we see all these cool birds, and we play on the playground and all this cool stuff. And I don't necessarily like, if I imagine that right now today, I don't know where I would do that. Like, there's nowhere for me to do that. So again, that's so specific to where I live and where I am, but I do feel like it's a problem, and I feel like it's something that we need to start addressing in this country. Just our public spaces are just not it. Like, we and on top of just like the individual experience of me just like enjoying nature, I do think that public areas and beautiful public areas with stuff to do is very important to fostering like community ties. You know what I mean? Because without community spaces, like, you won't have a community, because you'll have nowhere to be a community, you know what I mean? And I find that particularly true in the area where I live. I feel like there's no community spaces here, so I feel incredibly disconnected from the people around me, from my neighbors even, and it's a problem. But if there was like a really nice park with some lovely benches and chess tables and, like just a nice area that was like just down the street nearby, I'm sure I would like know a lot more people around here, because people would just kind of gather, people would do fun things together, there'd be organized activities for the community, stuff like that. This is a tangent that's not at all related to this video at all, but you know me, I go off on tangents all the time. But that's just what I feel right now. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Again, like, this is from my perspective from where I live, so I'm sure it's very different from wherever, you guys live. So let me know what your thoughts are on that whole topic. And if I sound totally dumb. Anyway, so let's get back to the build. I'm sure I'll go back to the other topic again, because it's something that's been on my mind forever. But we are on the first floor of the main building. Basically, this is where all our office spaces are. You saw me put together the kitchen. Basically, there's like 3 offices. There's this back one, which is for the kids. There's the front one, which is for the main like administrator person who like runs the whole thing and who meets with parents and stuff. And then up here on the second floor, this is where all our bedrooms are. So this is where the people who like live here and like run the orphanage, this is where they sleep and live. So I imagine there'd be like, I don't know how many people it takes to run an orphanage. For one of this size, I put 4 bedrooms. I imagine maybe like, I don't know, 4 to 8 people probably run this place. So we have like the main administrator person, right? Like the big head honcho, the person who like owns the place, who meets with the parents, who like is running everything, and who probably kind of like the principal is what I imagine. I kind of structure this a bit like a school in my head. And then there would be like the assistant principal, like the second in charge person who does probably more more interaction with the kids, like one-on-one, like more disciplinary stuff, more that's all I can think of. They wouldn't just do discipline, but that's just what I'm thinking of right now. And there would probably be like a teacher or two. There'd be someone who like runs the activities in the garden. There'd be probably someone who like does, I don't know, music or something. I don't know. There would just be like different specialties of people who work here. I feel like this would be a really nice place to work. You know, you have like your housing here, and then you can get up and you can start your day and you can run around with the kids. I feel like it would be a really cool experience. I don't know. We'll see. I actually, like, in my head, I actually really enjoy working with kids. I have some experience working at summer camps and stuff like that. And when I was in high school, I did a lot of like leadership. This is so embarrassing. I did a lot of like programs with like young kids where we like taught them like outdoor environment stuff. And I always found that really like fun and rewarding to do, which is odd because like I'm not like great with kids, like especially very, very little kids. Like I just like, I'm trying to improve, because if one day I want to be a parent, I feel like I have to start learning how to be good with kids. But I feel like older kids, like I had a lot of fun with like middle schoolers when I was in high school. I felt like it was such like a really fun age group because they're just kind of starting to be a little bit more mature than like your average like, you know, little kid, but they're still like young and innocent enough where you feel you still have like the fun times of like childhood with them, you know. And I always thought that age group was really fun to hang out with because like when I was at summer camp, it was so interesting seeing like these, when I was like I don't know, like 19, 20, like these really young like 13-year-olds like talking about their first crushes and how nervous they were about like dances and like boys, and they were like asking me all these questions about life in college, and it was such an interesting age, and it was just really fun to hang out with those middle school girls. It was just so charming. I don't know how to explain it. It was like such a interesting age group, which is interesting because I feel like especially when I was at summer camp, a lot of the other counselors there would always complain about the middle schoolers. It was like a running joke that it was like the worst age group to have, because while they are all those things that I mentioned, they're also super melodramatic, which is so true. But like when my experience with it was not like annoyed by it, I just found it very entertaining when they were just being so melodramatic. Like, oh my god, like she stole my hairbrush, and then they get all upset, and then it's just so funny. Not to like minimize their experiences as human beings. And I always like be there and comfort them and talk to them about this stuff. But it's such a fun age because like nothing is that serious, you know. Everything's like interesting and fun, but it's not that serious. So it's like, I don't know, that's just my experience. So maybe this is like a orphanage for like middle schoolers or something like that. I don't know, actually, do orphanages like take particular age groups? Is that a thing, or do they just like take everybody? I do not know. This orphanage in particular does not like take like toddlers or babies. I don't think that's just like not how they function. As you can see, we just have bunk beds in the dormitory section, so these are definitely for like children or teenagers. I don't know why, I just didn't really like feel like there was like a whole like nursery section, and I kind of imagine with this particular farm, since so much of it is like based on like outdoor activities and outdoor learning, that it wouldn't really make sense for them to like take babies and toddlers and stuff, but maybe I'll make a baby toddler orphanage in the future if that's something that you guys are interested in. Please let me know. Again, if you guys have any ideas for builds in the future, build requests, build challenges, anything at all, please let me know, because you guys have better ideas than me sometimes, and I just feel like that's just the truth, and we should collaborate. And I also just like making things for you guys. It feels very rewarding. It makes me very happy. Anyway, so in this build, we are about done with the dormitory here. In the center, we have our common room. So this is where the kids can, like I said earlier, they can just like chill out with, like they can just chill. This is where they have like some toys on the ground they can play. It's mainly probably for the younger kids to just kind of like chill and just play with their like dolls and toys and stuff. And I do think that this would be not like accessible to the kids like 24/7. It would probably be like common room is open like from certain hours of the day, so that like they're not like holed up in here playing with toys all the time. I feel like there's definitely like a pretty, not strict, but there's definitely a schedule that the kids have to stick to, where they have a certain amount of free time and then like a certain amount of like garden activity time. And I really did imagine this structured like a camp, like a summer camp. Again, I don't know how orphanages are structured in real life, so I definitely had to base this off my own experiences working at a summer camp. Which was such a fun experience. I miss it sometimes, it's something I would definitely consider doing again in the future, like if I had the time and if it paid way better than it did, because I gotta tell you guys, like, I wasn't even making minimum wage. Like, summer camps do not pay well at all. I do not suggest it as a means of making money, but I do suggest it as a means of just like having a fulfilling experience and, learning how to be with like young kids, and just fostering a sense of responsibility in yourself as a young adult, because you're responsible for a lot of young children. So if any of you guys are considering like working in a summer camp, though I don't know if any summer camps are still like open and running during the pandemic, I would suggest it. I think it's a very interesting, fun experience, if you go into it with the right mindset, because like it's very hit or miss for a lot of people. This is the classroom, by the way. I'm going to mention that before I go off on my tangent. It is very hit or miss for a lot of people, because I feel like some people go into it with the wrong expectations, and then people just end up, partying with the other college kids there, and they end up like not taking their responsibilities very seriously, and the whole experience can really go downhill if you're not doing it for the right reasons. So if you are going to, and this is like not related at all, and no one has asked me this question about summer camps, but I'm just going to talk about it anyways. If it's something you guys are considering, I suggest it, but just make sure you but make sure you go into it wanting to like spend time with kids, make them have the best summer of their lives, and learn something about yourself and grow a certain sense of responsibility. Just, if you're gonna do anything working with kids at all, like just do it for them and do it for your personal growth. Don't do it for the money, because you won't enjoy it. That's my advice. Anyways, this is the build. I spent a lot of time on this, and I'm really, really proud of how it turned out. I hope you guys enjoy it. Like I said, this will be available on my Patreon for early access currently, and then it will be public in 2 weeks' time. So that will be linked down below in the description. And please let me know if you guys have any names for this. I call it the Heart and Home Orphanage, which I feel like is very, very basic. So if you guys have any better names, which I'm sure you do, please let me know down below. And like I said, any build request challenges, let me know as well, because I get builder's block a lot, and lately I've been running out of ideas. So please let me know. It is Wednesday. We are in the middle of the week, so I hope you guys have had a great week so far, and I hope you have a wonderful week coming up. And yeah, I don't have much else to say, but there's so many more screenshots. I feel like I want to talk to the end of this video. I feel like the color palette on the inside is so like neutral pinky and very soft palette, which is so interesting. I don't know why I tend to gravitate towards that, but I always do for some reason. Anyways, as always, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Like, I'm so appreciative of you guys. You guys are amazing, and like, wow, you're awesome. Like, let's just keep doing our thing together. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.